and welcome to Into the Rabbit Hole with me. My name is Nancy. I have a rising 5th grader and a rising 7th grader. And I thought today we would do something totally different. And instead of you guys watching me talk all day, I just pointed the camera to this newly cleaned up space in here, which I'm really proud of because if you follow me over on Instagram, which is, by the way, the same username as in here, so Into the Rabbit Hole with me, all this did not exist as of last Thursday. Other stuff was like crammed in here, and I totally like rejuvenated, reorganized, purged, like all the things in this homeschool space of mine just to make it more in needs with what a rising upper elementary and middle school student would want versus their little toddler, preschool, first grade, second grade years. You know what I mean? I just hadn't done that since then, so it was long overdue. So anyway, I'm gonna share these books because it was a requested thing after I shared our room, like how I did it and stuff, like room reveal or room organization. One of the biggest things that was asked, like they wanted to know like what the books were. So we're gonna go through it. And who knows how long this video is gonna take. So grab yourself some coffee. But what I wanted to say is that these books, for the most part, I'll show you the ones that are aligned to a specific curriculum. But for the most part, they're not assigned to any particular curriculum at all. These are ones that I just want them to read. So I may not be doing like an official book study with them. We probably will tie in something with it. But for the most part, not like a book study. What I mean tying something in with it, I mean like a like maybe we do chapter summarizations, maybe we just do like a story plot, but we keep it very low key because these books in here are in addition to everything else that we're already reading. So they usually have their literature book where they are going in depth, where they are doing literature analysis, where they are probably using it in conjunction with like a different curriculum. But then they also have independent reading that they do on their own just for fun. But it's for school just for fun. Like they have their books, like their regular books that they get that they can read any old time that they want. But then I have homeschool books just for fun. Like it is mandated just for fun books. Okay. I don't know how else to like clarify it, but it is books that they may not pull on their own that I personally think it's interesting that I would like for them to read. And then basically the only way I'm going to get them to read it is if I say, hey, you have to do this for 20 minutes every school day. So that's it in a nutshell. So these are the books that I picked. But again, it's ever growing because I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm watching Instagram stories. And every time I find a book that I think my kids would be interested in, I do tend to purchase it and add it to the collection and stuff. Otherwise, I will forget. And library is not my friend lately with all like the fees that I've been incurring. This is the first time that I've ever had the camera this way, but I think it's going to work out really neatly because then I can just like hold the book up. Oh, the words are going to be backwards. That's okay. But Nurse Matilda is a take off of the Nanny McPhee series. And when we were doing writing with ease, if you're unfamiliar with writing with ease, they give you excerpts from like stories in there that you use for your copy work, for your narration, for your dictation, like all that kind of stuff. And this was one of them. And my son expressed interest in reading the books that Nanny McPhee were based off of. So, another one is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. Okay, Connor has the same dream every night ever since his mother first fell ill, ever since she started the treatments that don't quite seem to be working. But tonight is different. Tonight when he wakes, there's a visitor at his window. It's ancient, elemental, a force of nature. And it wants the most dangerous thing of all from Connor. It wants the truth. Oh, so that's why I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And for those of you guys, I know I usually like to look inside the book. I don't know why. My kids are definitely at the age where I don't have to worry about that stuff anymore. But for some reason, the font size, the layout in the inside of a book like makes a difference to me. So anyway, A Monster Calls. This one I actually saw from Homeschool of Bel Air, and she's doing this as part of like a Torchlight. No, it's not Torchlight. Blossom and Root for their 6th grade curriculum, I think, has a novel study on this, but you can actually purchase it just separately and stuff. And so I do plan on doing it. So a classic tale of friendship, identity, and punk rock. Always, always remember the first rule of punk: be yourself. So what if you're a total weirdo? We're all weird in the same way, right? Right. And that's what it looks like. And this is what the inside looks like. That's kind of cool. You have like some really fun illustrations. See, this is the type of book that I would say definitely lends to you reading it on your own. As a read aloud, I don't think that this would be a very good one, just because you'd miss out on like the graphics like that, you know? Just like graphic novels. I find graphic novels really hard to do like as a read aloud. But look, you'd miss all that fun stuff in here. So anyway, I'm really looking forward. This is one that I'm probably going to bring out sooner versus later. If you follow me on Instagram, this is one that I'll be talking. I'm gonna get the Blossom and Root, like this curriculum, and then I can like do a flip through for you guys and stuff. But this one for my rising 5th grader, I think will be amazing. So there's that one. Worlds Without Fish. Now I'm gonna tie this into some sort of like recycling, water conservation, recycling type earth study, and I have books that I'm already gathering together to kind of build that up. So that is my plan for this one. But I am going to have my oldest read this independently. So this would be for my oldest that we're going to read independently in conjunction with this family style unit study that I am going to do. So this is what the back says. Can you imagine a world without fish? It's not as crazy as it sounds. But if we keep doing things the way that we've been doing things, fish could become extinct within 50 years. So let's change the way that we do things. And this is what it looks like in the inside. I think it's gonna be fun. So stay tuned for that, because I'm gonna create some sort of unit study where this is going to be included, but just as like a independent read. So there's that. There's The Stars Beneath Our Feet. This is one that I've been wanting to do for a long time. You've probably seen this in numerous places. And it all started with two garbage bags full of Legos, or maybe it was Jeremiah dying, or that fight they had before Maine got shot. Lolly's having a hard time knowing how to be without his older brother around. Seems like he's either sad or mad. The thing that helps most is building. His mom's girlfriend gave him 2 huge bags of Legos, and Lolly's working on a project so big it outgrows his apartment. But there are dangers outside. Older guys who harass Lolly and jump him and his friend Vega. What would Jermaine want to do? Get with a crew and take revenge, or build a different kind of world for himself? Lolly's going to have to figure this one out on his own. And this one's going to be for my oldest. Now, if my youngest, my rising 5th grader, ever does want to read these, I'm totally okay with that, you know? But in my mind, when I'm like picking out books and stuff, it was for my oldest. So this one for my youngest, The Great Brain by John D. Fitzgerald. And it says, Tom, better known as the Great Brain, is a smooth-talking genius with a knack for turning a profit. Whether he's saving the kids at school from the brand new mean teacher, or helping out Piggy Leg, Andy, or Basil, the new kid in town, the Great Brain manages to always find a way to come through and can scam a buck in the process. And he's only 10 years old. So that's what that's about. And this one's going to be for my youngest. My youngest likes things like that. See, they like, and I'm sure you guys know your kids' personality and what type of books like your kids would like. My oldest would not like this. My youngest would totally like this, you know? So there's that. And then I have Peter and the Starcatchers. So from my understanding, this is supposed to be a prequel to Peter Pan. So, either my youngest or my oldest is going to read it. I don't care who, as long as it gets read this year, because I think that this is so cool. Originally, I was thinking about doing this as a family read aloud, and I may turn this into a family read aloud, just because I think it's so cool. And we just finished reading Peter Pan, and we did a whole book study on it, so I think that it would be interesting. This is what the back says. In an evocative, fast-paced adventure on the high seas and on a faraway island, an orphan boy named Peter and his mysterious new friend Molly overcome bands of pirates and thieves in their quest to keep a fantastical secret safe and save the world from evil. This impossible-to-put-down tale leads readers on the unforgettable journey, fraught with danger, yet filled with mystical and magical moments. So, again, I just got it because I heard prequel to Peter Pan. I didn't even research it. It was an immediate buy to me because I was like, okay, yep, I definitely need to. So this is what the inside looks like. Okay, so then that's that first stack. Now I have the second stack that we're going to talk about. Okay, thirst. Imagine a world where water is for everyone. Says Minnie lives in the poorest part of Mumbai, where access to water is limited and she often has to wait for hours to use the communal tap. Lately, though, even though access is threatened by water shortages and thieves who are stealing this precious commodity, an act that Minnie accidentally witnesses one night. Meanwhile, in the high-rise building where she's begun working as a maid, she discovers that water streams out of every faucet, and there's even a rooftop swimming pool. There, she also finds herself serving a girl her own age, a girl who has the luxury to focus on her studies, something Minnie is finding harder to do with all the responsibilities. Then one day, Minnie encounters the water mafia boss and faces her biggest dilemma yet. Should she expose him, even if it means risking her job and her safety? And how did her future get so complicated? So imagine a world where water is for everyone. And this is what the inside looks like. And so maybe we tie this into our water conservation kind of thing, just like as a fun, like family read aloud possibly to do together, you know? And then a long walk to water. You guys see the theme, right? There's a theme going on. There is a theme. Okay. New York Times bestseller, A Long Walk to Water, begins as two stories told in alternating sections about two 11-year-olds in Sudan, a girl in 2008, and a boy in 1985. So that's cool because it's two different time periods. Same country, two different time periods. The girl, Naya, fetches water from a pond that is 2 hours walk from her home. She makes 2 trips to the pond every day. The boy, Salva, becomes one of the lost boys of Sudan, refugees who cover the African continent on foot as they search for their families and for a safe place to stay. Enduring every hardship from loneliness and attack by armed rebels to contact with killer lions and crocodiles, Salva is a survivor. His story intersects with Naya's in an astonishing and moving way. Hold on, be right back. See what my dog was barking about. And so this is what the inside looks like. It is actually a pretty like big font. It's like bigger font. I don't know if you can tell. That's like pretty big. Anyway, so that's what the inside looks like. And then this one, Lost on a Mountain in Maine. This one I kind of got from my oldest, even though it's going to be a lot like on the easier read, because if you've never read Hatchet, I personally think Hatchet is like a must-read book. Hatchet was so cool. But my son is really into like these survivor stories. So I thought that this would interest him. And this is what it looks like on the inside. And as you can tell, this is going to be like another survivor type story. All he had was hope. When 12-year-old Don Felder gets tired of waiting for his father and brothers to join him on the summit of Maine's highest peak, he decides to find his own way back to camp. But Don doesn't expect a fast-moving fog to obscure his path, knocking him completely off course. He doesn't count on falling down an embankment that hides him from sight, and he never could have imagined taking a wrong turn that leaves him alone to wander aimlessly for nearly 2 weeks in the empty mountain wilderness. A true and inspiring story about a boy's harrowing journey through nature's unforgiving terrain. See? Sounds interesting, right? So there's that. There is Freak the Mighty. I have never read this, and I know that this is like a classic. Never read it. I heard it's super sad. So here's what the back says. Max, Freak, best friends forever. I never had a brain until Freak came along. That's what Max thought. All his life he'd been called stupid, dumb, so it didn't help that his body seemed to be growing faster than his mind. It didn't help that people were afraid of him. So Max learned how to be alone, at least until Freak came along. Freak was weird too. He had a little body and a really big brain. Together, Max and Freak were unstoppable. Together, they were Freak the Mighty. Never read it, ever. Again, I heard it's a tearjerker. But anyway, so there's that. And then this is a journey to Joburg. I'm assuming Johannesburg, right? A South African story. Now, this is a very like light read type of thing, you know? It says, I don't know how you would pronounce that name, and it's coming in backwards. Ma, it's 2 M's and an A. Ma lives and works in Johannesburg, far from the village. 13-year-old Naledi and her younger brother Tiro call home. When their baby sister suddenly becomes very sick, Naledi and Tiro know that they need to bring their mother back in order to save their sister's life. Bravely, secretly, they set off on the long journey to the big city to find Ma. It isn't until they finally reach Johannesburg, but Joburg, that they see up close what life is like for Black citizens across South Africa and begin to really question the unfair and dangerous laws of apartheid. You know? So then you have that. Now, at one point in the school year, I'm going to be doing an Africa deep dive study and talking about apartheid and stuff. And so that is why I originally got it. So there was that. Okay, from the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler, I'm going to go with that. Okay. Now, I know that you guys have seen this. I'm still going to go ahead. We're still going to read the back and stuff. But I must be probably the last person in the world who has not read it, you know, and it looks so interesting. And I have some interesting ideas for like a book, not a book study, because again, this is going to be like an independent read, but I still want them to do something just to make sure that they are reading. I usually do like a little something, whether it's a plot arc, whether it's chapter summaries, whether it's like something like that, you know? So this is what the back says. Claudia knew that she could never pull off the old-fashioned kind of running away, that is, running away in the heat of anger with a knapsack on her back. She didn't like discomfort. Even picnics were untidy and inconvenient, all those insects in the sun melting the icing on the cupcakes. Therefore, she decided that her leaving home would not be just running from somewhere, but would be running to somewhere, to a large place, a comfortable place, an indoor place, and preferably a beautiful place. And that's why she decided upon the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. Okay, so there's that one. And I have another copy just because I planned on all of us doing it together. This one, The Chocolate Touch, I had it in my home library for like the longest time. And I'm like, okay, we're going to read it. This is like a take on like the Midas Touch, and it's been on my list forever. It all started when John found the funny old coin. The man at the candy store was more than glad to trade John a box of chocolates for it, and John loved chocolate more than anything else in the world, or so he thought. At first, John was disappointed because inside that big box was just one piece of chocolate, but after he ate it, everything tasted like chocolate. That's when John discovered that his chocolate touch was more, much more than he bargained for. Okay, and then we have Bubble. And this was also already on my shelves for a couple years. So I'm like, it's about time. So I wish she were with me. But most of all, I wish I can be with her in her apartment. We could eat potato chips, drink Coke, and watch superhero films on TV. But I can't go there. I can't even walk outside onto the street because if I step outside of my room, I can catch any disease in the world and die. So this is about a boy who has to basically live in a bubble because he can't catch any germs, and so he just lives in the hospital. And the she that she's talking about is his sister, and his sister comes and visits him daily, and he kind of lives vicariously through her. And then he has like some hospital aides and nurses and stuff that we're introduced to in the story. But I think as far as like I like books that build upon empathy and also introduce diverse perspectives and stuff. Not just culturally, but also physically, you know, and I think that's important. So there you go. Bubble. You guys know Maniac McGee. I mean, do I even have to read it? Like, do I have to read the back? You guys know Maniac McGee. And I don't care when they read it, but I was trying to hold off until we got later on in our point in history, but I don't really care whenever they read it. So he wasn't always known as Maniac McGee, but when his parents died and his life changed, so did his name. And Maniac McGee became a legend. Even today, kids talk about how fast he can run and how he hit on Inside the Park Frog Homer. But the thing Maniac McGee is best known for is what he did for the kid from the East End and from those from the West End. He was special, all right, and this is his story. Okay. I was eating Flaming Cheetos. I apologize about my nails. I went off. I'm trying to eat whole foods only, but this is also like 4th of July week, and so I went off the rails a little bit. Okay, Ghost, running for his life or from it. This is what it looks like on the inside. Again, for those of you guys who find it helpful seeing the inside. And this is running. That's all that Ghost's real name is Castle Cranshaw has ever known. But never for a track team. Nope, his game has always been ball. But when Ghost impulsively challenges an elite sprinter to a race and wins, the Olympic medalist track coach sees he has something crazy, natural talent. My goodness, I need to stop. I can't even read. Thing is, Ghost has something else, a lot of anger and a past that he tries to outrun. Can Ghost harness the raw talent for speed and meld with the team, or will his past finally catch up to him? So this is one of 4 books, so it is a series. And I don't know if you guys knew because I didn't know. And so sometimes I don't like that, but this one is a series. Okay, next stack. Dinner time over there. My hubby is making dinner, and so there's commotion in the background. So I apologize if you hear background noise. Okay, new from here. I've actually had this for a couple years and I've been meaning for us to read it for a while. So, 10-year-old Knox Y. Evans never expected to have to move countries in 2 days. But when a virus named COVID-19 hits Hong Kong, his mom makes the last minute decision to move him and his siblings to California where they think they'll be safe. Not everyone is going though. Knox's dad, his best friend, has to stay behind to work, and his older brother, Bowen, would rather share a room with a mosquito than with Knox. At his school in California, Knox struggles with being the new kid. As racism skyrockets during COVID-19, Knox tries to stand up to hate while finding his place in a new country. Can you belong if you're feared? And can you protect even if you're new? And how do you keep a family together when you're oceans apart? Based on her own lived experience, New York Times bestselling author Kelly Yang spins a heartwarming tale of courage, hope, and resilience in the face of unprecedented times. So I thought that one was a cool one. And here is what the inside looks like. Okay, so there's that one. This is, my gosh, I've had this. I'm telling you, a lot of these books, that's why they're here, is because I've had them on my bookshelf for at least a couple years. And I'm like, you know what? Enough's enough. Let's like bring this out. Okay, so Wish, and this is what it looks like. And this is Charlie Reese has been making the same secret wish every day since fourth grade. But when she's sent to live with a family she barely knows, it seems unlikely that her wish will ever come true. That is until she meets Wishbone, a skinny stray dog who captures her heart, and Howard, a neighbor boy who proves surprising in lots of ways. Suddenly, Charlie is in serious danger of discovering that what she thought she wanted may not be at all what she needs. So there's that. I mean, I'm not even going to read the back. I think we all know, but I would like it for my youngest to read this. I think there's so many fun opportunities in here. And if we do read it, I will do something because it's too cute to pass up for us not to do it, you know? So I would like for us before he gets too old, you know? And then there's Watch Hollow. And I like spooky books. It's like my thing. Both of my kids, they have no interest in spooky books. I don't know why. I have no idea. Sometimes I wonder about them, you know, but they don't. And so when I see like interesting ones, I grab it hoping that they will, you know, find interest in it. But anyway, Watch Hollow. This is what it looks like on the inside. Okay. And it says, deep within an enchanted woods, in the town of Watch Hollow stands Blackford House, whose halls hold a magical secret, a giant cuckoo clock that does much more than tell time. But when the clock's gears cease to churn, an evil presence lurking among the trees begins to come out of the shadows. When Lucy and Oliver Tinker arrive, they have no idea that anything's wrong. It doesn't take long, however, for the children to realize that there is more to Blackford House than meets the eye. And before they can entirely understand the strange world they stumbled into, Lucy and Oliver must join forces with a host of magical clock animals to defeat the Gar, a vicious monster that not only wants Blackford House for itself, but also seeks to destroy everything the Tinkers hold dear. Okay. Linked. I believe my oldest has already read this, so I have this for my youngest. Because if I can get him into the Gordon Corman books, I think that would be amazing because I really love him as an author. So you can't deny something is wrong when it's right there in front of you. Link, Michael, and Dana live in a quaint town, but it's woken up very quickly when someone sneaks into school and vandalizes it with a swastika. Nobody can believe it. How could such a symbol of hate end up in the middle of their school? Who would do such a thing? Because Michael was the first person to see it, he's the first suspect. Because Link is one of the most popular guys in school, everyone's looking to him to figure it out. And because Dana's the only Jewish girl in the whole town, everyone's treating her more like an outsider than ever. The mystery deepens as more swastikas begin to appear. Some students decide to fight back and start a project to bring people together instead of dividing them further. The closer Link, Michael, and Dana get to the truth, the more there is to face. Not just the crimes of the present, but also the crimes of the past. So I really, really love this one. I think it's going to open up so many wonderful discussions, you know? So there's that one. Okay. I want us to get into the Artemis Fowl books. And so I picked the very first one in the series, and I have the entire series. I think it's amazing. I'm so sad that they never continued on with the movie series, the TV series, right? TV or the movie series, whichever one. I think that was such a shame. So Artemis Fowl is a ruthless criminal mastermind. He's 12 years old. No scheme is too dastardly, no plot too devious, and he's just discovered that fairies are real. Poor fairies. But these are not the gentle creatures of bedtime stories. They are armed, they are dangerous. Then Artemis kidnaps elf Captain Holly Short in an attempt to ransom her for fairy gold. Holly's incredibly dangerous and pretty annoyed about the whole kidnapping thing. Artemis Fowl is about to find out that fairies fight back. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Okay. And I must have an extra copy. Did I? Yeah, I must have an extra copy of this. Maniac Mickey. So anyway, just in case. I mean, I must have picked them up. I go thrift shopping all the time. So sometimes I just see a book for like 50 cents and I'm like, oh, I'm going to pick it up because just in case we decide to do it family style, then I have a copy for each child so they can follow along. Okay, next stack. Okay, Where the Red Fern Grows. I have actually never read this. I've never read it ever. And so I've always been curious about it and stuff. Billy has long dreamt of owning not one, but 2 dogs. So when he's finally able to save up enough money for 2 pups to call his own, he's ecstatic. Soon Billy and his hounds become the finest hunting team in the valley. But tragedy awaits these determined hunters, now friends. And in time, Billy learns that hope can grow out of despair. So it's a bond about a boy and his dogs. Or dog. Okay, so there's that. There is the Willoughbys for my youngest. And you guys know, right? The Willoughbys. Where's the summary for this? Shouldn't we be orphans? One of the Willoughbys' children suggests one day. The 4 are, after all, part of an old-fashioned kind of family, and their parents are not all that one would hope for. Recalling literary heroes and heroines such as Anne of Green Gables, Pollyanna, and James and the Giant Peach, the Willoughbys conduct a diabolical plot to turn themselves into worthy and winsome orphans. Little do they know that Mr. and Mrs. Willoughby have already begun to formulate their own thoroughly despicable plan inspired by another favorite bedtime story, The Tale of Hansel and Gretel. So villains, benefactors, no-nonsense nannies, abandoned infants, long-lost heirs, and late-life romance all make their appearance along with the irrepressible Willoughbys as the Newbery Award-winning author Lois Lowry plays playful homage to classic works of literature in this hilarious and decidedly old-fashioned parody. You know, and this is what the inside looks like. Okay, so there's that one. And then The Borrowers. My oldest read it, but I'm hoping that my youngest will want to read it because I just think it's a cute one. So underneath the kitchen floor in the world of The Borrowers, Pod and Homily Clock and their daughter Ariette, in their tiny home, matchboxes double as roomy dressers and postage stamps hang on the walls like paintings. Whatever the clocks need, they simply borrow from their human beings who live above them. It's a comfortable life. Comfortable but boring if you're a kid. Only Pod is allowed to venture into the house above because the danger of being seen by a human is too great. Borrowers who are seen by humans are never seen again. Yet Ariette won't listen. There is a human boy up there, and Ariette is desperate for a friend. And this is what it looks like from the inside. Okay. And then I have Wolf Hollow. And despite growing up in the shadows cast by 2 world wars, Annabelle has lived a mostly quiet, steady life in her small Pennsylvania town until the day new student Betty Gelgari walks. Oh my gosh, look. Is that a turkey? Do you see it? Hold on. Did you guys see that? I hope you guys can see it. I wasn't able to my phone is on my tripod. We got some wild turkey in the backyard. How wild is that? All right, let me fix this again. Where was I at? Until the day new student Betty Gelgari walks into her class. Betty quickly reveals herself to be cruel and manipulative, and though her bullying seems isolated at first, it quickly escalates. Toby, a reclusive World War I veteran, soon becomes a target of Betty's attacks. While others sees Toby's strangeness, Annabelle knows only kindness, and as tensions mount in their small community, Annabelle must find the courage to stand as a lone voice for justice. And this is what the inside looks like. Wasn't that wild with the turkey? Wild turkey. Usually they come as a pack, though. That was all by himself. Okay. the 68 rooms. This is what it looks like on the inside. Hold on, let me fix this again. Okay, and then here is the back. Almost everybody who has grown up in Chicago knows about the throne rooms. Housed deep within the Art Institute of Chicago, they are a collection of 68 exquisite, almost eerily realistic miniature rooms. Each of the rooms is designed in the style of a different time and place, and every detail is perfect, from the knobs on the doors to the candles in the candlesticks. Some might even say the rooms are magical. Imagine, what if on a field trip you discovered a key that allowed you to shrink so that you were small enough to sneak inside and explore the room's secrets? What if you discovered that others had done so before you and that someone had left something important behind? See, doesn't it sound intriguing, right? It's intriguing. I was like, yeah, I would want to read it. Okay. When you reach me. So when you reach me, by sixth grade, Miranda and her best friend Sal know how to navigate their New York City neighborhood. They know where it's safe to go, like the local grocery store, and they know who to avoid, like the crazy guy on the corner. But things start to unravel. Sal gets punched by a kid on the street for what seems like no reason, and he shuts Miranda out of his life. The apartment key that Miranda's mom keeps hidden for emergencies is stolen, and then a mysterious note arrives, scrawled on a tiny slip of paper says, "I am coming to save your friend's life and my own. I ask two favors. First, you must write me a letter." The notes keep coming, and Miranda slowly realizes that whoever is leaving them knows things no one else should know. Each message brings her closer to believing that only she can prevent a tragic death, until the final note makes her think she's too late. And that, I'm telling you, right? Doesn't it sound like really interesting? Okay. And then The Giver. So for my oldest, The Giver. Life in the community where Jonas lives is idyllic. The designated birth mothers produce new children who are assigned to appropriate family units, one male, one female to each. Citizens are assigned their partners and their jobs. No one thinks to ask questions. Everyone obeys. The community is precisely choreographed, a precisely choreographed world without conflict, inequality, divorce, unemployment, injustice, or choice. Everyone's the same except Jonas. At the ceremony of 12, the community's 12-year-olds eagerly accept their predetermined life assignments, but Jonas is chosen for something special. He begins instructions in his life's work with a mysterious old man known only as the Giver. Gradually, Jonas learns that power lies in feelings, but when his own power is put to the test, when he must try to save someone he loves, he may not be ready. Is it too soon or is it too late? And then you guys know there's a movie on this, and the movie's great. Lassie. So I don't need to explain Lassie, and I'm not going to read the back. I think we all know Lassie, right? And this is what it looks like on the inside. So Lassie. And then I have Simon Sort of Says. And this is what the back says. Simon O'Keefe tells a lot of stories, like how his family was driven out of Omaha by alpacas, and how his church deacon dad accidentally gave a squirrel a holy sacrament, and how his undertaker mom occasionally has to wrangle emus. But the story Simon doesn't tell is the one he'd do anything to forget. Simon's only survivor of gun violence at his school. That story has followed him everywhere except his new home in the National Quiet Zone, where internet is banned so radio astronomers can listen for signs of life in space. Then Simon meets a kid who wants to give the astronomers what they've been looking for, and he finally gets the chance to tell a new story about himself. And so that is it's really interesting. So I'm excited for them. And that's why I have them here, because I would love for them to read them. All right, guys, I think I have a few more. I have like 3 more books, but then I also have a stack that you guys may have seen over here on this side of the shelf. Oh, you guys can't even see. Over here on this side, though, further back, another stack of books, and that has to go with Beautiful Feet books, early modern history, or with our U.S. Beautiful Feet books world geography course. Okay, so I just have them off to the side so I can easily access them and stuff. Okay, Stella by Starlight. Stella lives in the segregated South, in Bumblebee, North Carolina, to be exact about it. Some stores she can go into, some stores she can't. Some folks are right pleasant, others are a lot less. To Stella, it sort of evens out. And heck, the clan hasn't bothered them for years. But one late night, later than she should be up, much less wandering around outside, Stella and her little brother see something that they're never supposed to see. Something that is the first flicker of change to come. Change not welcome by any stretch of imagination. As Stella's community, her world is upended, she decides to fight fire with fire and learns that ashes don't necessarily signify an end. And this is what it looks like on the inside. All right, so that's one of them. Then I have Alice, Return to Wonderland. It is a sequel to Alice in Wonderland, which we just did. So I'm like, we may do this as like a read aloud. And it says, I thought perhaps you knew my grandmother. Everyone seems to. And who is she? She's Alice. I don't know anyone called Alice, the caterpillar said. Who are you? I just told you I'm Alice, but with a Y. See, that's one all the way around. So you can like look at, and then look at this copy that I have. Hold on. Do you see like the edges? Isn't that really cool? All right, so England, 1919. Alice with a Y lives with her grandmother, the original Alice, having lost her father during the Great War. When a mysterious invitation to a tea party hits her square in the face, Alice realizes her grandmother's strange stories of a place called Wonderland might have some truth to them after all. But the land Alice finds herself in feels different from the wonderland of her grandmother's tales, for it's too trapped in its own war. The Sun King and the Queen of the Moon are fighting over a stolen hour, and soon Alice is tasked with setting it right. With the help of the Mad Hatter, the Cheshire Cat, and a sailor fox, Alice will have to solve Wonderland's problems and eventually find her way back home. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so there's that. And then this is the Not So Boring Letters of Private Nobody. And it says, Oliver Pritchard knows everything about the Civil War, but he knows nothing about girls, especially Ella Berry, slacker, daydreamer, and unfortunately his partner for the Civil War project in 7th grade history. And on top of the Ella disaster, Oliver has to research some random soldier who didn't even fight in any battles before dying of some boring disease. He's sure the project is doomed, but Ella turns out to be much more interesting than Oliver expected. With his lunch buddy Kevin Kim as their writing consultant, things are looking up for this team of 3. Then Oliver discovers some big secrets buried in the past and the present. He knows he can unravel the mystery, but as he keeps digging, he has to decide if it's worth blowing up the project and his newfound friendship in order to learn the truth. So you have that, and this is what it looks like. Okay, and then the last one of just like regular fictional books is Wanted, Your House. And let's see. It says, Wanted, a home, actually your home. Every weekend, Cyril's mom drags him to open houses looking for the perfect home. But it's impossible to find anything affordable on a single parent salary, so Cyril gets creative. He posts an ad with an unusual offer at a cafe popular with senior citizens. If you let my mom and I move into your house, we'll cook and clean for you. In exchange, you'll agree to give us your house when you don't need it anymore. When Mr. Hart answers the ad, it's hardly a dream come true. Grouchy and stubborn, he has a talent for insulting everyone. Can Cyril convince his mom to move in with Mr. Hart? Can Cyril stand it if they do? And doesn't that sound interesting? I thought so too, so I got it. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so that's it for as far as just like regular fictional stuff. And I'll show you the stuff that I have off here to the side. But I'm not going to like, I'll flip through it and stuff just so you guys can see. But I'm not going to like read the back of it. You know what I mean? I'm just going to kind of show you. These are the books from the book list from Beautiful Feet Books. Either a part of their modern history for intermediate grades, or it's part of their world geography for intermediate grades. So Children of the West. And this is what it looks like from the inside. All right, so Children of the West. Crazy Horse and Custer, Born Enemies. And I mean, I could be mistaken. Some of these could have just been some that I picked up on my own. Like, it very well could have, you know? I don't even know. But I'm putting it all there. That way, if it is, and I'll just go there looking for it, you know? So there's this. And then The Last River. Now, I do know this is Beautiful Feet Books. Here's what it looks like. And then Escape from Slavery, The Boyhood of Frederick Douglass in His Own Words. And that's what it looks like on the inside. Okay. And then Ronald Reagan, Our 40th President. And then 10 Mile a Day and the Building of the Transcontinental Railroad. Oh, look. It was signed by the author. Isn't that cool? Okay. Okay, and then The War Boy, which is a very deceiving book. Because at first I thought it was like a straight up picture book. And it is a straight up picture book, but it's a lengthy picture book. Okay, and then I have some more over here. Hold on. Oops. Behind Rebel Lines. The Incredible Story of Emma Edmonds, Civil War Spy. And then The House of 60 Fathers. And Elijah of Buxton. And The Wright Brothers. And Water Buffalo Days. And then Air Raid Pearl Harbor, The Attack That Stunned the World. And Sergeant York. Okay, I lied. Some of this I think is from Beyond the Page, I believe. So anyway, this is like curriculum assigned stuff, not ones that I picked for the most part. I think there might be like a couple in there, like that one with General Custer. I may have picked that one out. But I think for the most part, it were the ones that I'm going to need for like upcoming curriculum. Okay, and then Turning 15 on the Road to Freedom. Pretty sure that this is for sure a Beautiful Feet books for world history. And then The Singing Tree. And then Stealing Home, The Story of Jackie Robinson. And then Rascal. And then there's one more. And this is Carver, A Life in Poems. Hold on. And there you go, guys. That is it. But if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll do part 2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed reading the back and stuff like that, because I always enjoy it when people like are sharing it, and then on the back they're also telling me what it's about, because it saves me a step, you know, because sometimes I'm like, oh, that cover looks interesting, and then they read it on the back and I'm like, that's not really something I want us to, like, that we're covering this year, and maybe not, like, just not interested in it. You know what I mean? So anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any videos, and stay tuned for part 2.